6ix9ine INE's girl is gone, taken out without warning, and the streets are on fire with talk. Just released footage shows in moments before everything unraveled. Now, people are pointing fingers, saying his own words may have...
Nigga, oh yeah, that homie, I don't give a fuck who I'm talking about. All them
Talking about?
you
Who you
ain't
talking
that
about?
homie.
set off the chain of events that sealed her fate. August 17th, 2025 wasn't just another date on the calendar. It hit like a gut punch, shaking the hip-hop scene just as the sun started rising over the city skyline. Ariella Costa, a 29-year-old Dominican stunner, gaining serious traction as both an influencer and bartender, was found slumped in her car on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. The way she went out left people confused, but what really had everyone talking was her connection to one of rap's most polarizing figures, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and whether his reckless lifestyle dragged her into a fatal storm. To understand how deep the situation goes, we need to unpack who Ariella really was in the streets. She wasn't just another selfie-taking cloud chaser. Ariella was a full-on force in New York's nightlife circuit. With 551K followers on Instagram and 115K vibing with her on TikTok, she built a personal brand out of her bold personality, dance videos, and modeling shots that kept people coming back. But beyond the filters and flawless captions, Ariella was neck-deep in the same nightlife maze where rappers, hustlers, and internet stars cross paths, all chasing clout, fast money, and chaos under neon lights. Working behind the bar at top-tier venues like Icon New York and Starlets, she was in the thick of that glitz-meets-drama environment that fuels the city's elite party circuit. These weren't regular clubs. They were pressure zones where fame, street life, and social media status could erupt into problems at any moment. And here's the craziest part. Just the night before everything went down, August 16th, 2025, Ariella was still posting stories from Icon, not just her playground, but also her paycheck. The clips showed her glowing, dancing, laughing, like life was perfect, like nothing could touch her. But the real twist? Those posts ended up being her final, haunting glimpses, chilling snapshots of the moments before her life was taken in the most heartbreaking way. That's when things really started to spiral.
Bro,
Not surprised.
told on his girl, bro.
Not surprised.
6ix9ine just about to tell on anybody, huh?
Yeah, come on.
Raising red flags for investigators, drawing fans, and giving haters even more to talk about. That everyone's out here trying to piece together what really went down. But to understand how deep the situation runs, you gotta...
What's your definition of a snitch? Let's start there.
A snitch is somebody, I feel like a snitch will do anything to get out of a situation. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a snitch will get faced with something and will just give up their mother, their brother, everybody, their whole camp just to be free.
Look at 6ix9ine INE's history with the feds. His pattern of flipping sides, cooperating, and acting shady whenever the pressure's on becomes crucial when analyzing how he reacted to Ariella's murder. A clip from a No Jumper segment lays it all out clearly. His knee-jerk reaction to work with law enforcement, even when it meant turning on people close to him. The host's expression said it all, a raw reflection of how the culture sees that kind of behavior. Even 6ix9ine has owned up to it. His history of snitching doesn't stop at relationships. It runs straight through the streets, shaping how both the cops and the block view him. Multiple videos capture just how the culture sees his willingness to spill. And that detail becomes deadly important when you start wondering why Ariella might have been the one to take the hit. Her link to Tekashi 6ix9ine has become the focal point of the entire situation. And for good reason. Their relationship is one of the most hotly debated pieces of the puzzle, with rumors flying from all directions. Some say Ariella was his girl, keeping things on the low, while others insist he refer to her as his sister, keeping the bond strictly platonic. That back and forth isn't by accident. It speaks volumes about how murky and guarded connections in 6ix9ine INE's circle really are. Just being seen with him can bring exposure or danger. But one thing's clear. Whatever they had ran deeper than casual friendship. Ariella showed up in the video for his track WA, a collab with Angel Dior, Leonard, and Bolin 47. And she wasn't just some extra in the background. She commanded attention, linking her directly to his music world. What really raised eyebrows was when they stepped out together in 2023 at the Toga Room in NYC. That wasn't just two friends catching a vibe. It was a calculated public move in a scene where everyone watches, records, and talks. Public enough to fuel speculation, private enough to leave people wondering. Their relationship danced on the line between close friendship and something deeper, and that mystery kept the streets buzzing. But what makes Ariella's death even more chilling is the timing. By 2025, 6ix9ine wasn't the same rainbow-haired firestarter who once ran headlines with wild stunts and viral beef. He was under heavy legal restrictions, which made any public appearance with Ariella not just rare, but risky as hell. After serving 45 days in federal custody at the end of 2024 for breaking the rules of his supervised release, 6ix9ine got hit hard. Strict probation, house arrest with an ankle monitor, banned from traveling abroad, and buried under a mountain of legal red tape. Then came July 2025, just weeks before Ariella's death, and the pressure turned up. He pled guilty to drug charges stemming from a March raid at his Florida home, where authorities uncovered MDMA, cocaine, and more. His sentencing was locked for September.
What I fold on though?
When you took the stand, or when you testified?
What I fold on?
When you snitched.
All right, so let me ask you something. If you was in that position, what you would have done?
For me, you gotta understand.
I don't.
Listen,
answer the question.
I would never tell.
All right, so this is what I'm saying. If you was in that position, you would have did that, Tom.
Meaning every move he made was under a legal microscope. That paints a clear picture. Stepping into New York nightlife wasn't just a bad idea for him. It could have destroyed what little freedom he had left. Yet somehow, Ariella's death is now intertwined with 6ix9ine, chaotic past. From his informant status to the long list of enemies he's stacked since switching from street-connected rapper to full-blown federal cooperator. Unreleased footage shows 6ix9ine breaking down his mindset from the moment he decided to flip, and that clip only added fuel to theories swirling around Ariella's fate. In it, he doesn't just justify cooperating. He dares others to say they wouldn't do the same. That mindset becomes critical when you consider whether his connection to Ariella may have dragged her into dangerous territory. The evolution of Daniel Hernandez into Tekashi 6ix9ine, and then into a known government witness, has been told countless times. But when you line that up against Ariella's murder, it hits completely different. His history of informing, combined with constant threats, like the fake casket left his Florida home in February 2025 with King Von's name on it, has only intensified rumors that Ariella's death may have been retaliation. Let me hit you with something real. You never lacking, right? So what happened to Nipsey? That's 6ix9ine's own line. Question the idea that street loyalty offers any protection. It happened to the best of them, he says. Nipsey, King Von, Pop Smoke, all gone, and all labeled as solid. 6ix9ine's take? Being solid doesn't keep you alive. But here's where things twist hard. This case isn't just about Ariella being close to 6ix9ine. It's about a tangled mess of rivalries, past beefs, and deep motives. Look closely at his interviews. The pattern is clear. Snitching wasn't a one-time, panic move. It's a repeated strategy. Every time things got hot, he cooperated. And every time, new enemies were born. That pattern carries weight when you start thinking about what it means for anyone tied to him, including Ariella. Police are still trying to piece together what happened to Ariella Lancaster. But what's surfacing is a layered story, way deeper than a random shooting or mistaken identity. The speculation out here plays like a full-on street saga, with multiple angles battling for the truth. And to understand it all, you have to look at how 6ix9ine views survival. In raw, unfiltered footage, he explains his entire code, staying alive by any means necessary, even if it means cooperating. He mocks the so-called real ones who died sticking to street codes. That's where the most viral theory enters the chat. According to social media, blogs, and even mainstream headlines, Ariella wasn't the intended target. Here's the twist. The bullets were meant for someone else. Allegedly, her boyfriend at the time, Nada Cartier. That theory flips everything. Nada Cartier is reportedly a gang figure with a long criminal history, including robbery hits known on the streets as Joe Lopi. The theory gets darker. Sources say Ariella was driving a G-Wagon with Cartier riding shotgun when she was hit. He walked away untouched. Even more shocking, some rumors suggest Ariella set up Colombians for Cartier to rob. which could have triggered brutal retaliation. If that's true, this wasn't about being in the wrong place. It was about being part of play. Police confirmed someone was detained, and multiple outlets pointed to Cartier. His background, his prior arrests, even how he got into the country, all raised major red flags. Suddenly, it's starting to look like he was a target, and Ariella got caught in the fallout. But it doesn't stop there. Cartier's involvement raises another dangerous question. Could Ariella have been linked to both Cartier and 6ix9ine at the same time? And if so, did that overlap make her a target from both sides? The second major theory, spreading across hip-hop media, adds more fire. It claims Ariella wasn't wrapped up in Cartier's drama. She was caught in the long shadow of 6ix9ine Ione's enemies. His past with the 9 Trey gangster bloods, and how he flipped on them in 2019, has never stopped haunting him. And again, his own words don't help. 6ix9ine compared himself to fallen rappers, coldly saying their solid status meant nothing because they're dead and he's alive. That ruthless mindset gives rise to another idea. The shots that killed Ariella may have been meant for him. There's also talk of gang vendettas and old street ties catching up to her, and that's intensified by 6ix9ine Ione's emotional IG tribute, calling her his sister. Despite rumors they were more than friends, the rawness of his post had people wondering, was he carrying guilt? Guilt that her death was a message meant for him? But here's where the story hits a wall. By 2025, 6ix9ine was locked down, probation, house arrest, ankle monitor. If he was in New York when it happened, it would have violated everything. So was he even there? Probably not. That contradiction is what makes this case so messy. Maybe the hit wasn't about him being there. Maybe it was about sending a message by taking out someone close. And then comes the third theory, even darker than the rest, that Ariella was killed because she was allegedly giving up information to law enforcement. In other words, she may have been a snitch too. That angle hits close to 6ix9ine Ione's own past. In multiple clips, 6ix9ine makes it crystal. Cooperating isn't weakness. It's survival. And if that's what he was preaching people around him, who's to say Ariella didn't adopt that mindset too? If so, that might have sealed her fate. Street justice doesn't wait for confirmation. The mere rumor of betrayal is often enough. Some have even tied Ariella's murder to a string of gang-related violence hitting NYC, like the insane Brooklyn nightclub shooting where 42 rounds were fired by 4 shooters, all gang-linked. Put all these threads together, and Ariella's death doesn't look random. It looks like the result of something far bigger, a deadly web of connections, retaliation, and blurred loyalty. Mayor Eric Adams even launched crisis teams to try and stop the street violence cycle. And while there's no official tie between Ariella's case and that Brooklyn hit, the timing keeps the rumors alive. At the center of it all is a twisted truth. 6ix9ine has become so toxic, so targeted, that it might be safer to hit someone around him than him directly. That's the chilling logic that keeps Ariella's name on every whisper list, as collateral damage in battles meant for someone else. And what makes it worse? The silence. No ballistics report. No timeline. No clear number of shots fired. Nothing. That vacuum of official info has become the perfect storm for wild theories and street talk to fill the gaps. So the real question still echoes through every headline, every blog, every post. What really happened to Ariella Lancaster? Balancing the chaos of 6ix9ine Ione's explosive reputation with the constant media obsession surrounding his name is no easy feat, and things only get more tangled when street legends and real-life drama cross paths. "Oh, Harlem, don't act like you weren't at that baby's shower," someone said, recalling how certain faces showed up sipping rose, including names you'd least expect. Let's get spicy for a second. Real talk. Not to stir the pot, but Jim Jones, you keep shouting out Mel, you keep bringing up Shoddy. The deeper you dig into these affiliations, the clearer the complexity becomes, especially when 6ix9ine lays out how street beefs really unfold. In one raw moment, he breaks it down. So-called street loyalty doesn't end in respect. It often ends in a casket. And that's not just a theory. Let's not forget, Alpo Martinez, one of the most infamous street figures, was actually at 6ix9ine Ione's baby shower before his own murder. That one detail alone shows how messy these alliances are. In this world, snitching doesn't always sever ties. It just creates contradictions so dangerous they can turn deadly. Because now, it just keeps putting 6ix9ine back in the spotlight. More accusations. More heat. What's next? And no, not everyone rocks with 6ix9ine. But domestic violence is domestic violence. Facts are facts. Right now. The case surrounding Ariella's death is being handled by both the NYPD and Westchester County Police, officially labeled as a suspicious homicide. Westchester Police Chief James Luciano confirmed their belief that the shooting is connected to criminal activity, though he kept the specifics locked up tight. That alone gives serious weight to the idea this wasn't a random act. It was personal. Yo, real question. Someone asked during a live stream, was Mel Murder running with Treeway? Was he riding around with Jim Jones back in 2009 during Ballin'? The answer? Yeah, he was. And that's what makes all of this crazier. Because even with all the attention, still no suspect named. No arrests. No confirmed motive. Nothing. As of August 18th, 2025, the silence is deafening. And it's only pushing the mystery deeper, the rumors louder, and the real story harder to pin down. For a case drowning in coverage, the lack of official progress has people wondering, are police being extra careful, or are they up against something even bigger than anyone's admitting? Even how Ariella was discovered raises questions. Around 8 a.m., she was found slumped in her vehicle on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. Reports say she took a gunshot to the head, but key details, the number of shots, the weapon used, the timeline, still haven't been released. And here's what makes that strange. The Cross County Parkway isn't some back alley trap spot. It's a busy highway. And here's what makes that strange. The Cross County Parkway isn't some back alley trap spot. It's a busy highway connecting the Bronx and Westchester, full of cars and lined with surveillance. For a hit to happen there without obvious witnesses or footage, that points to one of two things, a lightning-fast ambush or a calculated move that hit during a known blind spot. Now, one of the biggest question marks? 6ix9ine's own movements that day. People swear he was in the car with Ariella when it happened, but in 2025, he was still under house arrest, strict probation, and had an ankle monitor tracking his every step. So if he'd entered New York, it would have set off immediate alarms. That detail throws a wrench in every theory that places him at the scene. So then why does his presence feel so heavy in this case? This tug-of-war between street gossip and legal fact forces a reality check. If 6ix9ine wasn't there, then any theory about him being the direct target becomes more complicated. That leaves two possibilities. Either this was a symbolic strike meant to send a message, or a hit based on mistaken identity, assuming he would be in that car. But here's the piece most people miss. The non-stop cycle of threats 6ix9ine's been caught in ever since flipping on 9 Tray. Like the fake casket dropped his Florida crib in February 2025, with King Von's name sprayed across it. A clear sign the streets still have him in their crosshairs. And the deeper you get into 6ix9ine's survival mindset, the more it makes sense why someone might come after people close to him instead. His take on the Alpo situation revealed a lot. He's never been scared to call out hypocrisy, even if it meant burning bridges or creating more enemies. That same no-filter energy kept him famous and made him a target. So even if he wasn't there that morning, Ariella's connection to him, no matter how close or casual, might have been all it took to make her a target. This kind of proxy violence isn't new. In today's street scene, when someone's too hard to reach, their inner circle often takes the hit. A no-jumper host even broke it down, calling out how the streets view 6ix9ine's reputation, and how anyone tied to him automatically steps into danger. His pattern of running to the feds isn't a secret. Everyone knows. And in the streets, that's a death sentence for your reputation. That alone could paint a target on anyone in his orbit. Add to that his aggressive style, always calling people out, challenging others' street status while being vulnerable himself. And you see why being near him is risky business. Then there's the timing of his emotional IG tributes to Ariella. They came while he was under a microscope, right before his September 2025 sentencing for the drug charges he pled to in July. Every word he posted had consequences. Yet, he still went public full of emotion. So what does that tell us? Either he couldn't hold back his grief, or those posts had a deeper purpose. Some think he wanted to clear his name in the public eye. Others believe it was a rare glimpse of raw emotion from a guy who rarely lets walls down. Meanwhile, the streets and Ariela's world mourned in their own way. Icon New York and starlets, the venues where she made her name, posted loving tributes, calling her a radiant spirit with a big heart. The Dominican community showed out hard, with thousands flooding her Instagram comments, turning her page into a digital memorial. But as the days pass, the biggest questions still hang in the air. What really happened? What we do know is simple and chilling. On August 17th, 2025, Ariela Lon Costa was found shot inside her car on the Cross County Parkway, and investigators believe it was a targeted hit. No arrests, no confirmed suspects, just a storm of theories. And until someone breaks the silence, the truth stays buried in the shadows.